Hello, Shauna White, heartfelt intimacy coach here, talking today about examining the inner roots of jealousy feelings. And I just need to make sure I'm live in all the places. So, one moment. Hopefully, it works today. I've been having trouble with my go live in the Facebook group tech, but maybe I fixed it. So, while we're waiting for that to happen, let's talk a little bit more about what today's live is about, examining the inner roots of jealousy feelings. Do you ever feel a pang of something like jealousy when your partner, okay, that other one is not going to work. Too bad. All right. Do you ever feel a pang of something like jealousy when your partner lights up about a new acquaintance or shares with delight about discovering unexpected things in common with a work colleague? Or even if your partner just wants to do something special with his or her kids that doesn't seem to include you. It's not like your partner is doing anything that gives you real cause for concern about fidelity. Today, I'm not talking about infidelity or the concern for infidelity, but just these feelings of jealousy that come up, this feeling like somehow something just hurts a little bit when you see your partner light up about something and that something isn't you or doesn't involve you. So we are going to get to the bottom of that today. And I want to share what someone posted. Someone posted a question about this. And so I am going to read part of what she shared. I asked her if she has the perception that a third party is stealing attention or connection energy away from the relationship. And her response was, yes, I think I might get the perception that someone is taking away or threatening my connection with him, but the triggers for making me feel that way are pretty weak. So the jealous feelings are apparently close to the surface, and it's a thread that's easily pulled. I do love the way she expresses herself. I sometimes have a feeling that I need to prove myself. And if I don't, then someone will come along that's better than me and it's over. No second chances. I have a hard time feeling secure in my attachment because of this. I'm very hard on myself, and sometimes that looks like I'm offended or upset at the other person when in reality, I'm upset at myself or have determined I have messed up, not the other person. Determined that I've messed up, not the other person. When I do catch even the slightest hint of that loss of connection due to a third party, it feels like jealousy. That's the best I can describe it, maybe with some shame mixed into it. So it's really this feeling. I'm feeling into the energy of what she's saying, and I can also relate to it from my own experience. It's this feeling of like a twisting pain pang, an energy pang inside that feels like, oh, and a fear along with it. I imagine, I'm not speaking for her, but in general, from my own experience, a fear along with it that I'm invisible and I don't matter. And someone else is going to have the love that I need, is going to take the connection that I feel with this person who's my partner, is going to is going to win their love. And the shadow that I am is going to fall into the shadows. So I used to feel this a lot. And I remember, I acted this out. I'm laughing at myself because I acted this out. I don't know if you've noticed in your own experience, but we tend to attract relationships that match our subconscious fears and pains. And it seems to just exacerbate them. But really what I've learned through experience over the years is that it's a gift that that happens, and it's kind of a law of the personalized curriculum for your own growth, a law of energy, that your magnetism will attract to you that which most aggravates your subconscious wounds, so that you can see them, because you can't see your subconscious wounds, they're subconscious. But when you attract to you that which aggravates your subconscious wounds, it manifests as something painful on the outside, and that helps you see what's in your subconscious so that you can heal it. Because when you heal it, then you can create something different in your life. So the reason I said that is because the place where I practiced and connected with this pain of jealousy inside myself most often was an ongoing on and off relationship that I had with someone who was very ambivalent. And so I attracted and was attracted to an ambivalent man, because I saw later that I had a painful wound from losing my mom just before I turned 4, that I don't matter, that God is a loving God, but has better things to do than take care of me. And I don't matter. I'm unseen. So I was like, well, let me go find an ambivalent guy and prove to him that I'm lovable. So I had many experiences where this gentleman in particular had things that he valued that I wasn't to be included in. He loved his artwork, and he felt very special around his artwork, and he regarded me as unindoctrinated, I suppose, or unsophisticated in the art world. And so he sort of kept his art to himself, not to himself so much. I mean, he shared with other people, but he sort of had a shoulder shrug that kept me outside the art thing. So he would connect with other artists, and I felt the pang of, oh, I'm not included. I don't matter. I'm not loved. And but I also, because of the dynamic that we had, where he was kind of ambivalent and always sort of interested, but then not interested, but then not. Um, I particularly in that relationship felt that pang of shame that I'm not lovable, and fear that I will lose the scraps of love that I'm receiving from him, if he becomes more enamored with someone else or something else, whether that was um, his artwork, like I said, or his garden, or any of the amazing and beautiful things. He had so many beautiful projects that he did in his life. And I felt like I didn't know how to be included in them. And I felt the pain of that I am not loved or lovable. And that created a feeling that I could have called jealousy. I don't know that I did call it jealousy, but I have the sense that this is kind of in line with what this person is asking about. It's that, so let's go deeper. So I didn't know how to stabilize a feeling of love inside myself at that time in my life. And I believed subconsciously that that people love me for what I do for them. I hated transactional relationships. I hated that what I called emotional commerce, this give and take of like, I have needs and you have needs, and relationship is about getting our needs met. I rejected that because it felt unloving to me. It felt like using, even though it was very often very emotionally beautiful, it still felt like using to me. And so I completely lost what I was saying. Hang on a second. Oh yeah, that's right. So I hated the reality that I saw about how relationships were kind of transactional and about using each other to get what we need. And yet, because I felt unworthy deep inside my core, the core of my being, I believed that no one would love the real me. If I was just plain me, then the person that whose love I wanted would just turn away. They would just they're they would be looking at me. In my mind, it felt like they would be looking at me and they would see plain me and how unlovable I am in my essential nature, and they would just turn away and I would be unseen, and the fact that I'm unlovable would be known and would become manifest. That's what I was afraid of deep down inside me. And so I scrambled, in a sense, in a very subtle way under the surface to try to ingratiate myself to people. I wanted to do what they wanted from me so that they would need me. And so I also, interestingly, this ambivalent dude that I'm talking about had an emotionally needy side. And I tried to nurture him in a way that would plug into his emotional neediness, because that made me feel like I was securing the attention that I wanted from him, that made me feel like I was seen and loved, even though the core of my being was hidden. That unlovable core in my being was hidden. So it's quite a complex dynamic. But underneath that feeling of jealousy was the belief that I am not lovable in and of myself, and that I'm only loved for the things that I can do for this person. And so it's risky if this person finds someone else that does things for them that he loves, then he won't have any use for me anymore. And if he doesn't need me and he doesn't use me, then he won't love me anymore. So this was the complex underneath those jealousy feelings, or those pangs of shame that came inside me when his attention would light up with someone else, or with his artwork or his project or whatever it was that I didn't feel included in. So I no longer have this pattern. And why do I no longer have this pattern? It is because I found how to put interconnection at the root of how I connect in relationship. And so now I don't look at my partner as the source of love, and I'm not trying to perform for them. Now we can try to enact this. Like I tried for years to enact this intellectually. I was like, I tried to not perform for the other person. I tried to put myself into unconditional love for myself, and I tried to practice I am lovable. Like I said to myself in the mirror, I love you every night before I went to sleep. I did all these different kinds of things, but it didn't work. I mean, it's not that it didn't help, but it did help. We have to struggle and strive and wrestle against our subconscious patterns, and that always helps. But the thing that made the difference for me was when I really came to understand that how to connect with the energy of love experientially in the core of my being, which is something that we are not taught, and we're not even taught to look for that, or that it's even possible. Okay. That is something that I coach people in, because it's essential to rebalancing relationship. So I found how to actually explain to my subconscious that emotionally, at the emotional level, at the energetic and emotional level, that the love that I was missing, that I was looking for out there, running for, chasing after, and doing all these do for you, I'm competent trying to serve you things to try to get, chasing, right? That love I was looking for was actually inside the core of my being. And I needed to connect to that as how I connect to somebody else. The problem I was having, I knew that intellectually, but the problem I was having was I would throw that to the curb, that inner connection, and throw myself into the connection with the other person, feeling like what I need is from them. I need their approval, I need their attention, and that is much more happening than the love inside me. But when I turned the corner and I realized I was able to connect the dots inside my subconscious, that this throwing that to the curb is actually what's hurting me. And leaning into the relationship is taking me off balance. And that's why I feel unlovable, because I'm throwing away my inner connection and I'm leaning into the connection with the other person. And that sets into motion, well, it sets into motion a lot of dynamics, which I'm going to cover in another video. This is a little bit expanded topic. I want to stay focused. So because I was able to connect the dots in my subconscious and actually discover, even at a subconscious level, that I want the inner connection in myself, and that I want that more than I want connection with another person. And that therefore I was able to naturally prioritize that inner connection as how I connect with the other person. Now I feel the lovability inside myself, because that inner connection with love energy fills up the blank space inside. I didn't realize that when I believed that I was so unlovable, it wasn't a story from my life that made me think that. It was actually the fact that the core of my being was not connected with love energy. And we're actually designed to function that way. So my core that's designed to function in partnership with divine love was feeling unlovable because that partnership was dormant, because I didn't know how to activate it. And I had developed beliefs around that unlovability, that feeling of unlovability, that feeling of flat emptiness in the core from not being connected to that love. I interpreted it as unlovability. And then with the stories of my life, with my mom passing away and the god awful things that happened in high school and the struggles in romantic relationships, I had all kinds of stories around that core feeling of unlovableness. But when I was able to prioritize and realize that connecting with that love inside was actually what I was missing all along, the seed, the root of all of that unworthiness got wiped out, because the energy in the core of my being started to feel like love, because I was connecting with that love energy. This changes everything in relationship. It shifts the whole needs dynamic. That's the thing I was like, I want to talk about that, but I will talk about that another time. But we feel needy, we feel lacking, we feel unseen, we feel unlovable from that space of disconnection inside. And so then we try to fix it out there. We express our needs to our I'm getting into a little bit because I love it. We express our needs to our partner, trying to fix it from the outside. We also nurture and do so much for our partner, trying to get their attention to try to fix it on the outside. So when you establish that connection inside the core of your being, so you're starting to feel love in the core of your being, that's what releases the unworthiness dynamics that lead to those feelings of jealousy. And to finish the story, after I prioritized that inner connection, I felt like I don't even know how to be in a relationship. Like all my relationship skills were based on how do I win the love from outside myself. So I didn't know how to be in relationship as an actual connected human being, connected with love inside human being. So I had to learn those relationship skills from the beginning. Like I felt like a newbie in high school, except that I wasn't so unbalanced because I was experiencing this balance inside by connecting with love. After some time of developing, like unraveling the patterns and developing the new skills, I connected with someone who is my sweetheart now. We've been together in romantic connection, although long distance, for over 4 years, 4.5 years, coming on 5 years in the spring. And it's the most amazing healing relationship ever. There's no control dynamics. It's all like supportive and feels like it feels like the nature of love, like this connection of love that I feel inside myself. I also feel that coming to me in the way that I feel the connection with him. And it's really amazing because it's the deepest connection that I've ever felt romantically, but I don't feel like I need him because the connection that I have inside me in the core of my being satisfies, gives me a sense of emotional stability that I don't feel that desperation that I used to feel, that clutching desperation that I used to feel. And yet I'm so grateful for his presence in my life. I'm so grateful for all the amazing gifts that our relationship brings. And the reason that I share this is because this is what the alternative looks like when we cultivate that inner connection. We shift out of the push and pull of emotional commerce, of trying to get our needs met, and the emotional commerce of let me nurture you so I can be included in your attention so that I feel the sunlight of your energy and it feels like love, right? We shift to sunlight on the inside that allows us to shine and give into the relationship and allow our partner to be free, and we feel free. And in that freedom, the love flows naturally. And if our partner is truly our partner, they're going to thrive in that energy and that dynamic, and they are going to love to be in it with you because they can feel like they can be themselves. They can be themselves. They can shine bright. They feel free to move as they feel inspired to move, and it's not in competition with being close with you. So it's a beautiful thing. So that's my exploration of the inner roots of jealousy feelings. And I will just conclude with an invitation. If you have any stressful dynamics going on in your relationship and you would like to roadmap what the solution is, how to actually resolve those dynamics, not just wrestle with them and struggle with them, but actually resolve them, then send me a private message and we will have a conversation and see and roadmap that for you. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.